Welcome to a brand new edition broadcast to you live here on Canal Algérie, coming up shortly. On the occasion of the new year, the President of the Republic extends his best to the Algerian people, wishing them prosperity and happiness. Thanks to its giant efforts, Algeria assumes, starting from tomorrow, January 1st, the presidency of the United Nations Security Council. 2024, a year marked by a social turmoil in Morocco with huge and frequent demonstrations denouncing the harsh living conditions and normalization with the Zionist entity. Welcome again. First off in our news, the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, wished all Algerians, home and abroad, a happy and prosperous 2025, emphasizing unity and progress as key pillars for the year ahead. He expressed gratitude for the nation's achievements in 2024 and reaffirmed his commitment to building a stronger Algeria, driven by innovation, resilience, and the collective effort of its people, without forgetting our brothers in occupied Palestine in their struggle for freedom.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وصل اللهم وسلم على إمامنا وحبيبنا ونبينا سيدنا محمد ألف صلاة وألف سلام عليه. أيتها المواطنات، أيها المواطنون، ها نحن نودع عام 2024 بما ميزه من مكاسب وإنجازات وجهد بسواعد أبناء وطننا المفدى. جعلت بلادنا تسير بخطوات ثابتة نحو تحقيق نهضة تنموية واعدة تؤهلها للولوج في مصف الدول الناشئة. وهو العام كذلك ذاته الذي شرفتموني فيه بتجديد ثقتكم الغالية لنواصل العمل معا بتفاؤل كبير مبني على معطيات ومؤشرات واقعية باتت تتميز بها الجزائر إفريقيا وعربيا. وإذ أحيي بهذه المناسبة جميع الجزائريات والجزائريين لعزيمتهم ولتسلحهم بالروح الوطنية العالية خدمة لاقتصادنا ودفعا لوتيرة تنميتنا بقوة أكثر. فإنني أدعو إلى مواصلة المجهودات ليكون عام 2025 إن شاء الله حافلا بمزيد من الإنجازات والمكاسب بفضل رؤية الجزائر المنتصرة وقدراتنا الواعدة في عديد المجالات. تمنياتي لكل الجزائريات والجزائريين ولأبنائنا في الجالية الوطنية بالخارج عاما سعيدا مباركا بموفور الصحة والهناء، وببلادنا العزيزة بمزيد من الازدهار والرقي. كما أتمنى لأشقائنا في فلسطين الجريحة السلامة والنجاة وإنهاء العدوان. كل عام وأنتم بخير. عاشت الجزائر حرة أبية شامخة. المجد والخلود لشهدائنا الأبرار. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته.
And in a post on the X platform, the head of state Abdelmajid Tebboune congratulated all ranks of our armed forces in all units across the country on the occasion of the new year, as well as to those guarding our borders. And in another post, the head of state also congratulated the National Gendarmerie, Police and Security staff, as well as the National Defense and Customs on the occasion of the new year of 2025. A happy new year marked by health and good fortune to the Algerian White Army and to all the workers and staff of the medical and paramedical corps, wrote the President of the Republic on his official X account. And as a result of Algeria's diplomatic efforts, the country will assume the presidency of the United Nations Security Council starting tomorrow, January 1st. Algeria plans to use this opportunity to continue amplifying the voices of the Arab and African nations and advocating for just causes. And in this context, Algeria intends to organize the Council's open debates on the situation in the Middle East, including the Palestinian issue. In other news, a government meeting chaired by Prime Minister Nadir Al-Arbawi on the continued review of the draft bill governing mining activities. The discussions were guided by the directives of the President of the Republic and insights from consultations with various stakeholders and experts in the field. The government also reviewed a report on the Bouzina Dam project in Batna province, which has a storage capacity of 18 million cubic meters. The meeting also addressed ways to strengthen the regulatory framework for managing land border crossings. Finally, the government received an update on the progress of installing carbon monoxide detectors, an initiative launched in line with the head of state's instructions. To date, over 9.7 million detectors have been installed across all 58 provinces. And on behalf of the President of the Republic, the Minister of Communication, Mohammed Mazian, signed the Book of Condolences at the Embassy of the Republic of India, following the passing of former Indian Prime Minister Manmohan Singh. Representing the Algerian people and government, Mazian extended his heartfelt condolences and deep sympathy, expressing Algeria's solidarity with India during this difficult time. And with a reserve amounting to more than 3 billion tons, the largest iron mine in the world will undoubtedly be an economic boon for Algeria this year, as the works of the mining line Bishar Garaj Bila Tindouf are progressing at a rapid pace. The project is expected to be delivered before the set deadline of March 2026. More details with Melissa Kabash.
The Garaj Bilat mine is a strategic project that marks an essential change within the economic development process and the industrial fabric in the region. The railway line linking the mine of Garaj Bila to Tindouf and Bishar over a distance of 950 kilometers will be used to transport iron towards the north of the country.
The work pace is advancing rapidly. We work day and night thanks to the shift system so as to deliver the project within the set deadlines.
The project is divided into 3 sections. The first one extends over 200 kilometers from Bishar to Bni Abbas. The second one from Tindouf to Al Hassel over a distance of 175 kilometers. And the third one is divided into 2 sections as well, which are Hamagir to Al Hassel with 440 kilometers and Tindouf to Garaj Bilat with 135 kilometers.
Thanks to the machine behind us, we can lay 30 kilometers of tracks per day, which allows us to finish within the set deadlines in 3 months.
The project is indeed a boon to the country's economic field. It will allow us to open up new horizons and exploit one of the largest mines of iron in the world, with a reserve amounting to 3.5 billion tons.
And the end of the year often rhymes with solidarity at the Grand Mosque of Paris, which decided yet again to distribute 200 food packages to students in collaboration with the ADRA Association. More details with Melissa Leila Belaman.
Like every last weekend of the month, hundreds of students gather at the Grand Mosque of Paris, alone or accompanied by classmates and guided by attentive volunteers who ensure impeccable organization.
We take a tally of the names who are registered to come and benefit from the food packages.
Other volunteers are just as dedicated, working methodically. They inspect the packages, food and hygiene products prepared for the students gathered under the marquees. Many of these volunteers are students themselves.
What motivates me personally is that I also was a student. We've all been through this struggle.
That day, more than 200 packages were distributed thanks to the ADRA Association created by Algerian students living in Ile-de-France. It embodies the true spirit of solidarity.
It's not just about the food support. There is also support on a professional level to find an internship, for example, or to simply have a listening ear.
L'accompagnement ne serait-ce que pour pouvoir avoir une oreille et l'assistance. Voilà.
This operation is the 160th of its kind, an approach that has become a monthly tradition thanks to the active support of the Grand Mosque of Paris.
This operation is part of the social action of the Grand Mosque of Paris, a solidarity act which takes place pursuant to the guidelines of the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, to provide help, support and comfort to students living in Paris and its suburbs.
Every month, this surge of solidarity goes beyond simple donation. It becomes a human chain where everyone feels almost at home, an authentic Algerian spirit that warms hearts in this cold end of the year in France.
Coming up in our news. (2024), a special year for the Algerian sports with a good harvest at the Olympic and Paralympic Games in Paris. Welcome back, everyone. Today marks the 60th anniversary of the contemporary Palestinian Revolution, an event which was celebrated at the Palestinian Embassy in Algiers. The ceremony was attended by representatives of various Palestinian factions in Algeria, who emphasized the importance of maintaining unity and cohesion in the face of all attempts by the Zionist occupier to sow discord among Palestinians. They also reaffirmed their commitment to defending the just Palestinian cause and safeguarding the state of Palestine. As for the situation on the ground in Palestine, it has now been over a year into the genocide, where dozens of thousands of lives were claimed amid an international silence and a critical humanitarian crisis. Wissam Abu Zaid and Laetitia Sidqawi.
Here goes another year of oppression on Gaza as the genocide is still ongoing and innocent lives are lost daily. So far, exceeding 56,000 martyrs and missing people under the rubble. 70% of them are women and children. Terrifying scenes and regular massacres all year long. 1,413 bloodlines are completely wiped off civil records. As for those who survived, 2 million Palestinians are displaced and living in tents amid unbearable conditions, as even food is now a luxury, with aid arriving in drips and drabs. Difficult months during which the sound of strikes did not stop. Many families were killed and displaced, especially in Rafah, south of the Strip. As for the north, the occupation is continuing its ethnical cleansing in Beit Hanun, Jabaliya and Beit Lahia, destroying all means of life, attacking even hospitals where medical teams were arrested. This year, rescue teams paid the price, as many were killed and arrested. Even journalists, on the other hand, were targeted with a death toll reaching 200 martyrs. Yet, even this did not prevent the brave journalists on the ground from fulfilling their noble mission and to be the voice of Palestinians undergoing daily attacks. that do not spare worship places, schools, or even shelters in broad daylight.
In Morocco, citizens continue to take to the streets to express their shame of their own government's practices, even facing arbitrary arrests and systematic repression. Moroccans have demonstrated regularly throughout 2024 to denounce the cost of living, degradation of purchasing power, and the normalization with the Zionist entity. Leticia Setqawi once again.
The situation is only worsening in Morocco. Amid corruption and drug trafficking, the country is facing its worst economic crisis, a situation only made worse by the Makhzen repressive policies of the cries of its people. In 2024, the same regime made it clear that its main interest is to gain profit at the expense of its own people through corruption and embezzlement, by seizing the biggest markets in the country for the benefit of its allies and selling public projects to businessmen, all while sparing no effort to legitimize its occupation of Western Sahara. Many official reports have indeed sounded the alarm on corruption gaining more ground by the day in the kingdom, including that of Transparency International. Unemployment, on the other hand, was one of the main issues in Morocco this year, as it has reached 21.3%, without including the bankruptcy of hundreds of businesses. Corruption, a pillar of drug trafficking, which the kingdom is best known for. Not a surprise for a country that works with a Zionist ally to destabilize the continent. This year was also marked by the arrest of few drug traffickers under international pressure in an attempt to drive away the attention from the palace scandals, according to Morocco's own journalist Ali Lahrouchi, who backs his argument by a detailed study by the International Initiative Against Cross-Border Organized Crime, adding that the Moroccan government makes great profit off of this illegal trade. The annual production of cannabis exceeds 700 tons, or around $23 billion. Without counting other drugs that cross through the country, this regime has indeed become a source of shame for its own people, who do not hesitate to take to the streets regularly to display their clear rejection of this dictatorship.
A large renovation operation of ancient buildings and castles was launched at the level of the Kasbah of Algiers. One of them is the castle of Ahmed Pasha, or Dar Ahmed Pasha, which revealed many secrets of the past and showcased the beauty of Algiers' cultural heritage. Report by Lamia Boudebouba, taken up by our own Melissa Kabash.
Dar Ahmed Pasha, or the Castle of Ahmed Pasha, is one of many historic sites located in the Kasbah of Algiers, now being renovated by the authorities with an aim to preserve this heritage.
We've just started the operation about 2 months ago. We're preparing the site before starting renovation process, and before all this we have to begin the rehabilitation works of the entire building. We are now trying to maintain the decoration elements and protect other elements of the palace with different means.
Giving life back to this historic site while maintaining its history and stories is an operation beset with many difficulties, yet it remains possible.
We discover a lot during these renovation operations. May I say, happy surprises.
The castle of Hassan Pasha is another important archaeological site being renovated, located next to the Kachawa Mosque. This castle goes back to the 18th century, and as we can see, it has several decorative components now being refurbished by our Algerian competences.
At first, we take pictures and we use the plan we have and start with the most fragile tiles.
It's
an adventure and an impressive challenge. I invite everyone to learn more about this palace, as it revealed several secrets. It is indeed a major responsibility, as we are well aware of the importance of this legacy and the importance of transmitting it.
As said before, a hard mission, but a possible one that aims at preserving this masterpiece, denoting the city's rich history and architectural splendor.
2024 was indeed a very special year for the Algerian sports, notably during the Olympic and Paralympic Games of Paris, where several athletes shined and offered Algeria priceless medals. More details with our own sports reporter, Melissa Leila Belaman.
The 2024 year ends leaving behind unforgettable memories for Algerian sports. One of the highlights of this year is undoubtedly Algeria's triumphant harvest at the Paris Olympic Games, where Algerian athletes offered the country 2 gold medals and 1 bronze. The first won by Iman Khalif in women's boxing, who accomplished an unprecedented deed by being the first Algerian, Arab, and African boxer to achieve this honor. The young gymnast Kélian Moore also won an Olympic gold medal, the first of its kind in the history of Algerian, African, and Arab gymnastics. The runner Jamal Sajati stood out in the 800-meter event, breaking national records throughout the season, and above all by winning a beautiful bronze medal at the Paris 2024 Olympics. These exceptional performances earned the Algerian champion the praise of the president and the entire republic. Paralympic athletes also shone wearing the nation's colors at the Paris Paralympic Games with an impressive total of 11 medals, including 6 in gold and 5 in bronze, thanks to an iron will and unwavering determination from Jamal Skandarat Mani in the 100 and 400 meters, as well as those of his companions. Algeria dominated the podium at the Arab and African level, ranking 25th in the world. In addition, Algerian military sports made history with a remarkable harvest at the African Military Games in Abuja, where Algeria collected an impressive total of 96 medals in gold, 22 in silver, and 21 in bronze. This distinction allowed to secure second place in the general stand-in, placing its name among the greatest sporting nations on the continent. The national football team continued its triumphant march by stringing together victories during the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers, securing its place at the final phase. The objective is now to repeat this performance during the World Cup qualifiers. The year 2024 also knew significant development in Algerian sports infrastructure with the inauguration of new stadiums such as the Shahid Ali Ammari in Algiers and the jewel which bears the name of the late hero Hussein Ahmed Tizi Ouzou, some of the most beautiful and modern sports facilities in Africa, which allows the country to display its assets to host major international competitions.
Thank you so much for joining us as we say goodbye to the past year and welcome a new one. We wish all our viewers a happy, joyful, and prosperous new year.
History.